Give me your hands, I'm gonna punch you again. Give me your hands!
New insight into a clash between Ogden police and a suspect.
I did watch the videos from the press conference, and I still believe there was excessive force use that was unnecessary.
What newly released police body camera video shows, and why that man's family says it doesn't excuse the officer's actions.
Residents voicing their concern about a citywide fiber optic project. What's making them upset when they aren't even against the plan?
Here we are with an industrial park with trucks that come in and out all day, every day.
Tonight, people in Lehigh making sure leaders hear them out.
Our storm is clearing out, but what about our flooding concerns over the next couple of days?
And they were quite literally like a cornerstone of the neighborhood and community.
More homes teetering on the edge of collapse in Draper tonight.
So I think there is probably a way to prevent that third house, hopefully.
But what's being done to ease people's fears and keep them safe?
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
New tonight, we've learned that what is left of that second home that collapsed down a cliff in Draper will be demolished tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, other homes are hanging on by a thread. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Kelly Chapman. Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson checked with neighbors and the mayor today to see what's being done to keep people safe.
All our kids hung out of that house almost daily.
The home where neighborhood children and families gathered.
That's where the Kimballs lived. And they were quite literally like a cornerstone of the neighborhood and community.
Now,
Oh my.
in shambles. A majority of this home collapsed Saturday morning. Since then, all that remains is the master bedroom and the front entryway. And the mayor says it's only a matter of time before the rest of it falls over the edge too. Its neighboring home fell completely over the edge that same morning.
We have two down, one that we're really concerned about, and the fourth one that we've condemned, but that's not as big a concern as this other house.
With two more homes evacuated and potentially next in line to fall over, Mayor Troy Walker is remaining cautiously optimistic for their future.
Edge Homes has now stepped up and they're getting involved in, so I think there's probably a way to prevent that third house, hopefully.
He says he issued a declaration of local emergency Monday night for more authority over the area, and the city will be monitoring these closed-off trails and the road.
But down below, we have people down there taking stuff out of the debris, like hiking down and getting stuff. It's bizarre. With a house sitting up there potentially,
It's not part of the stabilization or anything like that?
No. They're cleaning up the insulation in the roadway.
Oh, okay. The developers, the city, and the homeowner, I'm sure that's going to be a big fight.
With a slippery future ahead, neighbor Matt Lamborn hopes attention stays on the safety of the neighborhood.
We need to really make sure that the focus is kept on making sure that our neighbors, that their homes can still be saved, are saved, and that resources are allocated appropriately by both, I believe, both city and builder. It's like to go ahead and make that whole.
In Draper, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And just a reminder, the area around that landslide, as well as Ann's Trail and Clark's Trail, remain closed.
The mayor says there is nothing to find or see there that's more valuable than someone's life, and they don't know if or when the other homes will collapse. He also adds they will issue fines to trespassers without warning.
Stay with Fox 13 News, both on air and online, as we continue to track the fallout of this disaster in Draper.
West Jordan police have released the identity of the man killed in a police shooting over the weekend. Officers were dispatched to 3300 West Jordan Line Parkway at about 1 Saturday morning on reports of someone breaking into cars. Officers identified 30-year-old Michael Kenneth Lee, who had been booked into jail 1 week prior. Police say Lee exchanged gunfire with officers, wounding one in the leg, but also was struck and died at the scene. The wounded officer is expected to make a full recovery.
A 28-year-old Ogden man is being charged with manslaughter after allegedly shooting and killing his wife last November. Christopher Trevino called 911 the night that he shot his wife, 27-year-old Jacelyn Gray Trevino. Court documents say he thought he heard his home security alarm and woke up to see a dark figure approaching his bed. Now, he reached over. He thought he felt his wife laying next to him before grabbing his gun. Trevino later told investigators the figure did not speak and he did not make any call-outs before he shot.
In just a few weeks, the city of Lehigh hopes to start laying fiber optic cable and ramping up construction for its high-speed internet network.
However, some neighbors are still hoping to stall the project's momentum. They tell Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser they feel like they were left in the dark in the planning process.
Emily is live at Lehigh City Hall tonight. Emily.
Bob, Kelly, these guys say they feel like they're not even against the fiber network plan. They attended the city council meeting tonight to let the council know that they believe the city picked the wrong location. The site is at 1100 West and 1400 South. They also tell me they're not fond of a private company operating on public land.
For the last 12 to 15 years, it's been cows grazing on here.
Gone are the cows, and in their place, lots and lots of fiber optic cables, all part of the city of Lehigh's years-long goal to provide high-speed internet.
No one wants to stop the fiber project, but we need to have some accountability here, because right now, the city says we can do whatever we want, whenever we want.
That's Kenneth Glade, one of many neighbors who feel like this site is not the best spot.
1100 West here has 2 ditches on both sides, a school within 300 feet, two LDS churches that service a lot of people, and here we are with an industrial park with trucks that come in and out all day, every day.
The city's power department director, Joel Eves, says the city plans to prioritize safety.
We're looking at things such as curb, gutter, sidewalk, burying the ditch so that we can widen the road and make it a much better site, safer for pedestrian traffic.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to...
At Tuesday night's city council meeting, the men voiced their concerns. Mayor Mark Johnson assured them things are still not set in stone.
There will be a site plan application that'll be forwarded to us eventually. It has to go through DRC, has to go through the process. I think we even mentioned before that we do anticipate taking care of the ditch, putting in sidewalk, curb, gutter, all those improvements.
The city says out of all the sites they looked into, this one leaves the least amount of impact to neighboring communities. They hope to have internet ready for some customers in the next few months.
We feel that there are not enough choices in Lehigh to provide those services, and we want to provide more options.
The city is partnering with Strata Networks. It's an internet service provider and the largest telecommunications cooperative in the state of Utah. They hope to have the final project done by summer 2025. Reporting live in Lehigh, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
April 25th, usually one of my favorite dates because
Miss Congeniality.
But today,
it's a light jacket.
Today you needed a heavy coat.
Yes, no, today a light jacket as we warmed up a little bit this afternoon. So Kelly, our very own Miss Congeniality, thank you
Kelly's
for that.
Perfect date.
Yes.
April 25th.
That's right.
It never talks back.
It was a little cool today, though, but our storm is clearing, and we ended up seeing those temperatures rising pretty quickly right before sunrise. Beautiful live look right now from the Natural History Museum, where we're close to 50 still here in Salt Lake. 46 for Ogden, 44 for Provo, and then our storm moving off to our east, precipitation winding down in the Moab area. And through the next couple of hours, our temperatures are going to be mainly in the 40s through much of the night. Then plenty of sunshine tomorrow. Beautiful day tomorrow, actually, here across the state after what was a pretty dreary day for the most part until it cleared this afternoon. So Wednesday, 7 a.m., about 30 to 40 for the Wasatch Front. However, even though we've been so cold the last few days, we are back to some flooding concerns later this week. More on that coming up.
There's nothing okay about killing children. Nothing. And even if you didn't kill them, you threw them away like garbage.
We're hearing for the first time audio from an explosive phone call between Lori Vallow Daybell and her sister. We'll have more on that phone call that was played for jurors in Idaho today.
You ask Utahns what is most important to them, the economy remains number one, and it is not in as good a position as it was when President Trump left office.
With the political and economic landscapes in Utah radically changing over the past 3 years, what would a rematch between Presidents Biden and Trump look like in the Beehive State? But one political expert told me.
The NBA Rookie of the Year award was announced today. Did Walker Kessler win it? I'll tell you where he finished coming up.
President Biden announced his re-election bid today on social media.
This is not a time to be complacent. That's why I'm running for re-election.
It brings up the very real possibility there could be a rematch between President Biden and former President Donald Trump. If that happens, what would that race look like here in Utah? Polls showed in 2020 that neither Donald Trump nor Joe Biden were popular here. Today, I spoke with Jason Perry, the director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics. He says even with some dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporters in Utah, there are plenty of Republicans who might not vote for him again.
Keep in mind, Bob, this is a ways down the road. And even in polling in the state of Utah, there are other Republican candidates that are polling higher than Donald Trump. But if we do get to the end, and it is just Donald Trump and President Biden again on the stage, there will be a call for Republicans to come home, regardless of their personal thoughts about the standard bearer.
Then vice presidential candidate Mike Pence came to Utah during the 2016 presidential campaign to call on Republicans to support him and Donald Trump. In the end, only 45% of Utah voters supported Donald Trump in the general election, the lowest percentage of support for any Republican presidential candidate who went on to win the state.
Day 10 of the Lori Vallow Daybell murder trial saw gut-wrenching testimony from Lori's sister about a confrontation between her and Lori over the deaths of her children, JJ and Tylee. Court TV correspondent Chanley Painter has more from Boise.
Emotions ran high inside the courtroom today as Lori Vallow Daybell's sister, Summer Shiflett, took the stand, and a devastating jailhouse phone call was played before the jury. In the call, Summer confronts her sister days after Tylee and JJ are found in Chad Daybell's backyard. Summer, almost hyperventilating while sobbing, accuses her sister of disposing of her children like trash and demands answers and explanations, but Lori either says she can't talk or denies the allegations.
They took care of them their whole life. Me. So why would you let them be buried that way? I didn't. Well, then come up with an explanation publicly.
After Summer left the stand, she declined to comment, but her uncle here with her had this to say about her testimony.
We felt so bad for Summer. First of all, it was difficult for all of us, but I can't imagine what Summer had to go through just initially with that call. Trying to relate, that's just tough.
And the day culminated with difficult testimony surrounding what investigators found in Chad Daybell's backyard. That will continue again tomorrow. Plus, we will likely hear from the medical examiners in this case. Reporting in Boise, Idaho, Chanley Painter, Court TV.
Yet another record has been set for snowfall in Utah as Alta Ski Area reports more than 900 inches of snow this year.
900?
Yeah, 900. Do you remember when we thought 500 was,
right.
Oh my gosh, then it was 600.
And the 700, I remember that.
900 inches, yeah. Yesterday's storm brought snow and winter-like conditions to the Cottonwood Canyons yet again, with the resort getting at least 7 inches of fresh powder overnight. Pushing them over that 900-inch mark for the season. 2 days, though, after they closed.
Oh.
Now, Brighton is only about 20 inches away from hitting that 900-inch mark as well. They're getting close.
We're just reminded how, it isn't just the weather that keeps the resorts open. They got to have workers and they got to have, facilities open and all kinds of things to make the season.
And safe conditions to get out and do that exploring.
Right.
I think a lot of people, though, are excited about this transition of seasons. We're back to some warmer weather over the next couple of days. And then our temperatures are going to be a little cool tonight. Absolutely. You'll need a jacket if you're heading out to take the dog for a walk right now. It's 47 in Salt Lake, 44 for Provo, 46 for Ogden. Across the state right now, we've got pretty comfortable temperatures considering earlier today it was even cooler, it was dreary, and it was wet. So our chance of precipitation tonight, it is unlikely here along the Wasatch Front. I heard some thunderstorm activity last night as I was falling asleep right around midnight, but tonight less likely, and we're going to keep things actually pretty dry for much of our 7-day forecast. So the storm is moving out. We are going to be warming up, and that is going to lead us to some more flooding concerns, especially as we get into later this weekend for northern Utah and starting on Friday for southern Utah. Satellite and radar here across the state. Right now, a few showers and thunderstorms off to our east. Earlier today, tornado warnings in Colorado, but for us here in Utah, we've got temperatures over the next couple of hours, mainly around 40 through much of the night, under clear sky. And then our temperatures next few days with high pressure building will actually be really comfortable Thursday and Friday. It's just going to be pretty breezy out there. The reason it's going to be breezy is we're going to have a trough that's going to dig into the region. This is mainly going to stay off to our north and east, but this is going to bring us some additional wind, maybe a slight cool down Thursday into Friday. And then we could maybe squeeze some precipitation out of that, but high pressure definitely will be our main dominant feature in the forecast over the next couple of days. So tomorrow morning, you're waking up, you've got sunshine, you don't have a wet drive or just dreary conditions like we had today. You're certainly going to feel more spring-like tomorrow. Tomorrow's forecast into the 50s at 10 a.m., into the 60s after lunchtime tomorrow under clear sky. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock here across the state, much of Utah, 60 to 65. St. George, you're close to 80 tomorrow. A little breezy throughout the day across southern and eastern Utah, but overall, we're going to see much breezier conditions for Thursday and Friday with that storm that's going to pass mainly to our east. Now, St. George tomorrow, 80, close to 90 on Thursday. See about a 5-degree cool down by Friday at 82. And then into the 90s Sunday, Monday, and then into Tuesday, you'll see another cool down actually for southern Utah. But for the Wasatch Front, mid-60s tomorrow, mostly sunny. Thursday, partly cloudy and breezy, 70, close to 70 on Friday, still a little breezy. 80s start Sunday into next week. We'll talk more about the 2-week temperature outlook coming up later in the hour.
Allison, thanks. Coming up, cabins buried under feet of snow in central Utah. How people are dealing with it and what will happen when all that snow melts.
And Governor Cox is celebrating newly signed laws that aim to help the Great Salt Lake and other water conservation efforts. We'll break them down for you. Stick around.
With unprecedented amounts of snow in central Utah, cabins in Fairview Canyon are still nearly completely buried.
Yeah, check out some of these pictures. Many property owners now concerned about the damage as the National Forest Service shares a strong warning about possible landslides in the area. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay has the story you will only see here.
Really crazy. It's a lot of deep snow.
Craig Harvey of Linden has owned a cabin up Fairview Canyon in the Fairview Lakes Association, a group of about 115 cabins near Electric Lake in the Manti-La Sal National Forest the past 5 years.
The first year we got it, there was only probably about 3 or 4 feet at most. And the next year was about, I would say, 8 to 9 feet of snow.
But now they're seeing at least 13 feet, burying many structures in that area, even completely covering some.
We had to start tunneling down to get underneath our cabin to actually get to where we can turn on the power and the water and things like that.
So you've had to kind of dig a tunnel to even get into your cabin.
Yeah, it's about 8 foot deep tunnel every weekend to get down into it.
Craig and his wife are able to go up regularly to check on things thanks to a snowcat they use to get there. He says the snow isn't easy to maneuver.
Cabin shifted over about 3/4 of an inch and the doors are jammed. I actually got the doors open, barely got them back closed. And I have a nice rope. And I tried to pull through the snowbanks that were pushing the cabin in that direction. And I couldn't get them to even budge. Even when the rope would go all the way through it, they just didn't even move.
But the main road has had to be temporarily closed in this area due to things like this, a rock slide earlier this month. The Forest Service warning there may be more like this to come. The National Forest Service issuing this announcement Monday, which reads in part, snow melt from this year's record snowfall may bring about landslides and flooding in low-lying areas.
We've had historical highs in snowpack
So we just want to make sure that everyone's prepared for conditions.
Kim Wynn from the Forest Service says they ask visitors to wait out certain situations and be prepared to possibly stay longer than planned, particularly in cases of flooding or landslides.
Landslides could be rock or debris in the road, and we definitely want visitors to report those to us because a lot of times there will be road closures while we monitor them and then also give us time to react.
Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
New body camera footage released today detailing a use of force incident involving 4 Ogden police officers. What police and the man's mother had to say about it.
If this is just a reprieve in a longer drought, then we need to take advantage of this reprieve in a very big way.
Saving the Great Salt Lake, how newly signed laws will help raise the water level.
She told us that they had never issued our tickets.
A local humanitarian group struggles to fly home after airline inconveniences. What the best course of action is for you if you're ever in this situation.
Are the Jets done with Zach Wilson after trading for Aaron Rodgers? We'll hear from the Jets general manager coming up.
Give me your hand! Stop resting! Stop reaching in your waist!
Tonight, the Ogden Police Department has released this body camera video from a use of force incident involving 4 of their officers over the weekend.
This comes just 2 days after a bystander video showed the officers punching 30-year-old Sean Sims while he appeared to be pinned on the ground.
Tonight, we're hearing from the Ogden Police Chief, Eric Young, and the man's mother about the incident.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold spoke with both of them.
The Ogden City Police Department after-action use of force investigation has been completed, and all 4 officers' use of force has been found to be justified.
Video from Ogden police officers' body-worn cameras detailing an incident that happened around 5:40 p.m. on Saturday. Ogden Police Chief Eric Young says 2 officers saw Sean Sims walking in traffic on 17th Street near Washington Boulevard.
Mr. Sims appeared to observe the officers and immediately reached into his waistband.
The chief says that led his officers to believe Sims was reaching for a gun.
Sims quickly withdrew his hand from his waistband and pushed it out under his shirt in this manner as if he was pointing a gun at the police officers underneath his shirt.
He says Sims refused officers' commands and took off running before eventually being taken to the ground by one of the officers. 2 other officers arrived on the scene shortly after.
The officers were unable to forcibly remove Sims' hands from under his stomach and inside of his waistband. In the span of about 10 seconds, officers struck Sims with fists in the head, shoulder, and back area numerous times to try and gain compliance.
After one officer deployed a taser twice, Chief Young says officers were able to handcuff Sims. He was taken to the hospital after police say he sustained facial fractures and bleeding behind the eye before being booked into the Weber County Jail. It was in jail where Sims had this phone conversation with his mother, Marsha Quintana.
But I was going across the street and I did this finger gun thing, basically on everything under the sun. From meth to MDMA.
The chief says Sims spoke with another officer while he was in jail, saying he wished that Ogden police had shot him.
It took my breath away to see that happen to my child. And then I completely went to anger.
Quintana says she watched the body camera videos released by the Ogden Police Department Tuesday afternoon.
I still believe there was excessive force use that was unnecessary. And we'll push forward with this and file a complaint.
Our position is that the Constitution would say that what the amount of force that was used by these officers violated that.
However, Chief Young pointed to the department's policy when it comes to use of force and firearms, saying Sims' actions could be described as both active resistance and active aggression.
So officers are able to respond with whatever force necessary at that time to bring the situation quickly under control.
Well, Chief Young says that he's asking the Weber County Attorney's Office to conduct a criminal review of the event to ensure no laws were violated by the officers involved in the incident. Here in Ogden, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A St. George man is in jail after police say he attempted to record a teen girl in a public restroom. Police say the 17-year-old girl was using the restroom at a Maverick store last Friday when she noticed a cell phone being held below the wall of the bathroom stall. She quickly grabbed the phone, deleted the video, and then called 911, waiting in the stall until police arrived. Police identified the suspect as 20-year-old Lucas Gorgolion, an employee, a Maverick employee who had suspiciously left his job early. Police later took him into custody at his home.
A Beaver County judge found an animal rights activist guilty of criminal trespass and disorderly conduct today for canvassing in a park last Pioneer Day. Curtis Volmar and others with Direct Action Everywhere were handing out leaflets about Smithfield Foods, which owns the farm where two activists were facing trial for taking piglets. Prosecutors argued, although the area is typically used as a city park, it's owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which was using it that day for a private event. Volmar plans to appeal today's ruling. He already filed a civil rights lawsuit against Beaver County. Well, Governor Cox is calling attention to bills aimed at helping Utah emerge from drought and reversing the historic declines of the Great Salt Lake.
Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has the story from Layton.
At a wetland preserve near the Great Salt Lake, Governor Spencer Cox held a bill signing ceremony for legislation aimed at saving the lake and promoting water conservation. He says Utah continues to be on guard for flooding.
What we've been doing is releasing water from the reservoirs during this cold time, so the waters are running high, but that's to prepare room for the faster running water so that we can kind of prevent some of the flood that's happening, so that we can mitigate that. Now, if we start to get into the 80s in northern Utah, the mid 80s, that's when things get a little dicey.
Even with a fantastic winter, with all that snowpack and the rain we've been experiencing, we're still not out of drought, and the Great Salt Lake is still feet below what's considered a healthy range.
Today we are almost 4 feet above our previous record low that was set last November.
While that's good, we've still got a ways to go. Still, state leaders believe this legislation will help the lake recover and help Utahns conserve more.
If this is just a reprieve in a longer drought, then we need to take advantage of this reprieve in a very big way.
The bills include $200 million to get farmers to switch to water-saving technologies.
Agricultural infrastructure from water is ancient in our state. It's time that we invest in the future of agriculture and the future of Utah.
These elementary school students successfully lobbied for a bill to make the brine shrimp the official state crustacean.
If we have the brine shrimp as a state crustacean, we're hoping that it'll bring more awareness so people start using less and less water so we can have more water going to Great Salt Lake.
There's also money expanding turf buyback programs and promoting water-wise landscaping.
Changing forever the way that we incentivize people to use water, overuse water. Now there's an incentive to use less water, and that's a big deal.
State leaders say all of these bills can help us.
When we look at the big picture, being able to reduce how much water we use in every sector and being able to conserve it for a variety of uses, including Great Salt Lake, is really important.
In Layton, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Central Utah Water Conservancy District has begun redirecting water from the Provo River to help raise levels at the Great Salt Lake.
Using existing pipelines and aqueduct systems, the agency is redirecting the water a few miles up Provo Canyon through a spillway into the Jordan River, which flows to the Great Salt Lake. Officials say it will help restore the lake and mitigate flooding risks in Provo Canyon. A total of 50 million gallons of water will be diverted over the next 2 weeks.
They were on a mission to do good, but travel troubles left them not only exhausted, but financially drained. The story and advice for you before your summer getaway.
And coming up, temperatures are on the rise. Today we only made it to 51 degrees, which is more than 10 degrees below normal. We'll talk more about what to expect as our temperatures rise over the next couple of days.
Well, spring travel for sure, and almost summer travel will be here. And flight inconveniences, unfortunately, seem to be inevitable these days.
One humanitarian group has already dealt with travel pain after their 8-hour flight home turned into a 30-hour ordeal on multiple airlines through multiple cities.
Oh, man, what a way to end a trip of a lifetime, really.
Right?
The organizer of that group tells Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule she and other parents are now out thousands of dollars.
Toby Spears and her humanitarian group were bubbling with excitement on their way to Guatemala. That was stifled when the first of their flight troubles began.
We missed our flight because of technical problems, mechanical issues, and they kept us in the airport all night long. They ran out of hotel vouchers in Dallas, and so we got to have a sleepover with 15 teenagers and 3 adults in the Dallas airport.
Their Guatemala trip was incredible, but travel troubles continued on their way back to Salt Lake City.
We arrived at the airport in time for our by 4 a.m. And the gate agent, she told us that they had never issued our tickets.
The gate agent told Spears their best bet at getting home was to fly to Miami.
By the end of it, we had kids that flew from Delta, United, JetBlue, Southwest, and a couple were actually able to make it with American.
After hours on the phone and thousands of dollars spent, American Airlines offered Spears a $250 credit per ticket.
What would that get us? Our ticket to Guatemala was over $1,200. So what would $250 get anybody?
I reached out to American Airlines twice for comment and did not hear back, but with lots of summer travel coming up, I spoke to Charlie Leoka with Travelers United to see what the best course of action is for travelers when experiencing delays and cancellations.
The airlines must follow the rules, which are now written in there in that dashboard. The other thing you should do, know that you have to ask the airline for the hotel accommodation money or for an extra for your food voucher.
Leoka says when dealing with unresponsive airlines, the U.S. Department of Transportation is your best friend.
Before you talk to DOT, write down all of the information you need, the flight numbers, the fact that you're stuck at the airport, that you had to spend extra money to get a hotel room, you had to spend extra money to go to get another flight on a different airline.
Even after everything, Spears says she will fly American again if they make it right.
We just want them to fix the problems that they created, and so that the parents and the students can say, we had a fantastic trip in Guatemala and we got reimbursed fairly and compensated fairly.
Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, the Fox 13 Dream Team was proud to honor one pretty tough lady. How a survivor of domestic violence was inspired by her own experience to start a nonprofit that has helped more than 1,000 Utah women and children.
And the Utah softball team playing well right now. We'll check in with the youth before a big weekend hosting number 2 UCLA. And the NBA Rookie of the Year award was announced today. Walker Kessler is a finalist. I'll tell you where he ended up coming up in sports.
Today's students at Wasatch Junior High School in Mill Creek filled sandbags for their day of service.
And along with filling all those sandbags, students also put together packets for young patients at Primary Children's Hospital and finished wooden cars for the Tiny Tims Foundation for Kids. The Fox 13 Dream Team was proud to honor one pretty tough lady.
Michaela Jordan is a survivor of domestic violence herself. She was inspired by her own experience to start a nonprofit called Pretty Tough Ladies. Her group has a resource center dedicated to providing Utah women and children with essential needs during and after a crisis. They've helped 1,500 people thus far. Michaela's friend Thalia Lozano nominated her for this Dream Team surprise, and Good Day Utah traffic anchor Danny Ruberti was there to help make it happen.
I want to pull in Charlene Wells from Melton.
Hi, Michaela.
Charlene,
oh, hi, Danny.
My goodness.
It is so great to meet you.
Wow.
Look at you. You're surprised, isn't she? We are so grateful for the impact that you have on our community because you go out there, you serve women and children despite everything you've been through. $1,500 for your work.
Oh, my goodness.
And we understand that you and your husband gave up an anniversary dinner.
We did.
We have a Hand and Stone couples massage for you, Hand and Stone, South Jordan, okay? Because we just appreciate you so much, and here's some flowers that look so good with you.
I have like no words.
Oh,
Isn't that sweet?
congratulations.
Way to
so
go.
well deserved. If you know someone who deserves as well an uplifting surprise from the Fox 13 Dream Team, we want to make it happen. Head to fox13now.com/contests to nominate them.
Well, as you may remember, on Sunday night, many Utahns saw a rare treat in the sky. It was the Northern Lights.
Yes, and we've been getting incredible pictures, but for some, they came away with more than just that picture to treasure. Utah's Weather Authority Allison Krogan spoke to a viewer who had a very, very special experience.
Yes, that's right. We've seen those incredible pictures, and for many, memories to last a lifetime. Last night, I shared this fantastic picture from Rojas Jose on Fox 13 News at 9. I mentioned how neat of an experience that must have been for them and how great the picture was. And then today, I received a really sweet note from Rojas on the left in the picture. He said it's going to be a core memory for their family that they're never going to forget because it was his dad's bucket list item.
Tell me what it meant to you to be there, to be able to coordinate this bucket list item for your dad.
Oh, it was really amazing because, like, we grew up as kids, right? And our parents like try to like always help us fulfill like our bucket list things, and they're always there to like help us out. So for me to actually like enjoy that time and help my dad cross something off of his list, like it was like still to today, like I still get goosebumps just thinking about it because I was there with him, and just to see that smile on his face was like it meant the world to me.
So I shared the story and note on my Facebook page, and many people were commenting that it's a good reminder just to slow down and make the most of the little things in life with your loved ones. And for those wondering, they took those pictures at Saltair on Sunday night, and they didn't have to wait long. This was 9:20.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Perfect timing, perfect location.
Early in the evening, and he was telling me that the pictures were not, or in person, they started seeing some pillars, but they couldn't really see the colors that vibrant with their eyes. It was as soon as they got the camera out that it was that stunning.
That is such a cool story for Alfredo and Jose to share with us and for us to share with everyone else.
Yeah, the little moments become the big moments.
Absolutely. So thank you to them for sharing that moment with us, and a great reminder just to make the most of those situations when you've got the chance. 47 here in Salt Lake, 46 for Ogden, 44 in Provo. As we look at the Wasatch Front, partly cloudy for the rest of tonight. Tomorrow morning, cool and clear. And then tomorrow throughout the day, sunny, and it's actually going to be quite a bit warmer. Warming up later in the week, so we will return to some snowmelt concerns. So tomorrow, 60s, not as big of a flooding concern tomorrow because we're pretty close to average. Storm is clearing out, so we had some showers earlier today near the Colorado border. Those have since subsided. At 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to be about 40 to 45 degrees. And then come 7 o'clock in the morning, we're 30 to 40 degrees. So throughout the day tomorrow, temperatures are going to be into the 60s. And then later in the week, that's when things are going to get a little bit hotter. So as we look at Ogden, your chance of precipitation could potentially tick up just a tiny bit Thursday night, and then again early next week, but very low chances. For Provo, your chance of precipitation isolated on Thursday evening. Again, not a great chance, but we've got a storm that's going to be passing by to our northeast. And for St. George, you're going to have a dry 7-day forecast. So as we look at the national precipitation forecast over the next 7 days, lots of precipitation expected off to our east, but for the West Coast, things are going to be pretty dry. Here in Utah, we could see less than ½ of an inch of precipitation over the course of the next week. So for St. George, you're near 80 tomorrow, 87 on Thursday, into the 90s Sunday and Monday. This is going to become our main flooding concern this weekend. Lots of sunshine and temperatures that are very warm. If you're in town visiting or you're a local and you want to get out into a slot canyon, check with the local agency. It's the national park or the state park or the Bureau of Land Management. Wherever you're wanting to explore, boots on the ground, ask those experts, the officials with that agency, if it's going to be safe to venture into those slot canyons. For the Wasatch Front, 64 tomorrow, 70 on Thursday, 67 on Friday. Our temperatures are going to be rising into the 80s this weekend. So I do want to show you, after our 7-day forecast, what we can expect for our second week. So our temperature outlook for days 8 to 14. The 3rd of May, through the 9th of May. Above average temperatures in northern and eastern Utah. Central Utah, gray, normal temps. Southwest Utah, Cedar down towards St. George, especially a little bit cooler than usual. So things are going to be cooling down for Southwest Utah, but for northern Utah, we're going to keep things above average. And for perspective, low 60s is a normal high for this time of year.
The NBA Rookie of the Year award was announced today, and Jazz center Walker Kessler was one of the 3 finalists. Orlando's Paolo Banchero won the award after receiving 98 of the 100 first-place votes. Kessler received the other 2 first-place votes. He was third. Oklahoma City's Jalen Williams was second. Kessler had a great first season with the Jazz. The 22nd overall pick from Auburn came to Utah in the Rudy Gobert trade with the Timberwolves. Kessler averaged 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game, and the highest rookie field goal percentage ever at 72%. Jazz announced that the Salt Lake City Summer League will be back for the 8th consecutive year, July 3rd, 5th, and 6th at the Delta Center, with the Jazz, Grizzlies, Thunder, and 76ers. In the NBA tonight, the Nuggets just beat the Timberwolves to advance to the next round. The Hawks in the East trying to avoid elimination with a win in Boston. Celtics in control early in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown lays it in. 2 of his 35 points. The Celtics led by 13 points in the fourth, but the Hawks rally by Trae Young. 3 is up and good. That tied it at 111. Hawks down in the final seconds. Young with the step-back 3. He got it. Young with 38 points as the Hawks won at 119-117. The Celtics lead the series 3-2. New York Jets made a big trade to bring in quarterback Aaron Rodgers. So what's next for Zach Wilson? Former BYU star had a rough season, but the Jets say they're not giving up on Zach.
Zach's ceiling is unlimited. No one works harder, no one loves ball more than Zach Wilson. Him having the opportunity to really shadow and be with a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback every day, every hour he's in the building, that's a great opportunity and a great experience.
The Utah softball team's having a great season. They took it to Utah Valley tonight. Julia Jimenez, 4 for 4 with a home run, 3 RBIs, lead the Utes to a 9-0 win. The 16th-ranked Utes are third in the Pac-12 standings after dropping 2 of 3 at second place Washington last weekend. But they have a big series this weekend at home against number 2 UCLA.
Honestly, we're just firing on all cylinders. Our defense is doing great. Our pitching is outstanding. And then our hitting is really coming through in clutch situations, which is honestly all you can ask for in the people that we're playing. We have tough competition almost every single week. We have a lot of fight for this team, and rolling into this weekend, we have UCLA, who's number 2. So we're just going to try to keep the wins rolling. This team definitely thrives a lot more when we're at home. I mean, the atmosphere that we create with the fans and just each other, it's fun, it's light. Playing at home is always an amazing time.
And it sounds like there's good weather this weekend.
Yes.
Head out to the ballpark, watch the Utes.
Yeah, home field, home crowd advantage. It's all that makes a difference.
Good,
Thanks, Jeff.
We'll be right back. Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9.
Quick Cast is next.